The Rocky Mountain bunker was a fortress of scavenged steel and stubborn hope, its corridors echoing with the hum of generators and the clatter of tools. Lena Navarro sat on a crate in the workshop, her bandaged arms stiff as she stared at the modified Krath scout ship's pulse generator. The device, cobbled from alien tech and human ingenuity, was their best shot at crippling the Krath fleet, but it wasn't ready, and time was running out. Aisha's intercepts showed Krath drones closing in, their hunter fleets mere hours from pinpointing the canyon. The resistance had hurt the Krath, but the aliens were coming to crush them, and Lena felt the weight of every life in her hands. She pulled the hollow of Mara and Eli from her pocket, their smiling faces flickering in the dim light. Grief clawed at her chest, sharper now in the quiet. The Wyoming strike, the scout ship heist, the cruiser attack, each victory had cost blood, and Lena wondered how much more they could pay. She tucked the hollow away, forcing her focus back to the generator. Doubt was a traitor, action was her shield. Diego Reyes entered, his boots heavy on the concrete floor. "Perimeters reinforced," he said, his scarred face grim. "Decoys are up and we've got traps in the canyons. EMP mines, tripwires. Won't stop them, but it'll slow them. Volunteers are ready, but they're scared." "They should be," Lena said, her voice low. "We all are, but we've got no choice." Diego nodded, leaning against a workbench. "Tarek's pulling his weight, helping Samir with the ship's shields. Still don't trust him, but he's useful." Lena's lips twitched, a faint smile. "He's earning his place. Keep an eye on him, but give him a chance." Diego grunted, unconvinced but loyal. "For you, I'll try. Get some rest, Lena. You're no good to us dead." She waved him off, but his words lingered. Rest was a luxury, and the Krath weren't offering it. In the workshop's corner, Aisha Malik and Tarek Voon worked side by side, an unlikely pair. Aisha's tablet was wired into the scout ship's core, her screen flashing with Krath glyphs as she refined the pulse generator's output. Tarek's claws moved deftly, adjusting a shield emitter with alien precision. The bunker's crew still eyed him warily, but Aisha's banter had thawed some of the ice. "See, Tarek," Aisha said, grinning. "Humans don't just fight, we sass. That's why the Krath can't handle us. Ever try joking under fire?" Tarek's bioluminescent eyes flickered. "Krath do not jest, it is inefficient." "Inefficient," Aisha laughed. "Buddy, a good meme can win a war. Watch this." She tapped her tablet, pulling up a video from their broadcast, a human dancer spinning in a ruined city, captioned, "Krath can't stop the groove." Tarek's mandibles clicked, a sound Aisha took as amusement. "Your kind finds joy in chaos," Tarek said, his translator buzzing. "It is strange, strong." "Damn right," Aisha said, returning to her screen. "Stick with us, you'll learn to groove." Lena overheard, a spark of warmth cutting through her fatigue. Aisha's humor, Tarek's curiosity. Humanity's messiness was their edge, binding even a Krath to their cause. At midday, Lena called a meeting in the bunker's main bay. The Resistance, 50 fighters, technicians, and medics, gathered around the scout ship, its hull patched with duct tape and hope. Samir stood by the pulse generator, its capacitors humming ominously. Diego's volunteers clutched rifles, their faces a mix of fear and resolve. Tarek stood at the edge, his alien form drawing uneasy glances. "We've got hours, maybe less," Lena said, her voice carrying over the crowd. "The Krath are coming. Drones, ships, everything they've got. We hit them hard with the cruiser and they're mad. Good. Let them be mad. We've got the scout ship, Tarek's data, and this generator. If we can scale it up, we'll burn their fleet from the sky, but first we hold this bunker." A volunteer, a young woman named Priya, raised her hand. "What if the generator fails, or Tarek's lying?" Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Diego's hand drifted to his rifle, but Lena stepped forward, her gaze steady. "Tarek's with us. He's risked his life, same as you. The generator's untested. But so was every drone, every hack, every crazy plan we've pulled off. We're humans. We make it work." Samir nodded, his voice firm. "The generator's at 80% stability. With Tarek's help, we'll hit 90 by tonight. It's risky, but it's our shot." The crowd quieted, Priya's shoulders relaxing. Tarek's eyes glowed faintly, a silent acknowledgement. Lena seized the moment. "We're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for each other, for everyone we've lost. When the Krath come, we show them what humans are made of." The bay erupted in cheers, raw and defiant. Diego clapped Lena's shoulder, a rare smile breaking through. Aisha flashed a thumbs up, and Samir beamed, proud of his work. Tarek stood taller, his alien form less foreign in the human fire. That afternoon, Lena found Tarek in the workshop studying a human tablet. It played a song from their broadcast, an old folk tune, soft and haunting, about home and hope. Tarek's claws hovered over the screen as if touching it might break the spell. "This music," Tarek said, his translator struggling. "It speaks of loss, yet it lifts. Why?" Lena sat beside him, her fatigue forgotten. "It's how we cope. We hurt, we grieve, but we keep going. This song, it's about holding on no matter what." Tarek's mandibles clicked softly. Krath, do not grieve, we purge weakness, but I feel your loss. It drives you as it drives me. Lena's throat tightened. She thought of Mara teaching Eli that song, their voices blending in their Luna apartment. What did you lose, Tarek? His eyes dimmed. My kin unit, destroyed for questioning orders. I obeyed, but it was empty. You're kind. You give meaning to pain. Lena met his gaze, seeing not an alien but a soul searching for purpose. You're one of us now. We'll fight for your kin too. Tarek nodded, a human gesture he'd learned. Thank you, Lena Navarro. As dusk fell, Diego led drills in the canyon, teaching civilians to aim rifles and set traps. Aisha and Samir pushed the pulse generator to its limits, its hum a constant pulse in the bunker. Lena joined them, wiring capacitors with steady hands, her engineer's instinct guiding her. Duct tape sealed a loose panel, a human hallmark amid alien tech. Aisha's tablet pinged with a Krath intercept. They're close, she said, her voice tense. Drones 2 clicks out, ships in low orbit. Zorith's leading the charge, calling us vermin to be purged. Let him try, Lena said, her fire flaring. Samir, generator status? 92%, Samir said, wiping sweat from his brow. It'll work, but we need to mount it on the ship. That's another day. We don't have a day, Lena said. Work through the night, I'll help. Diego entered, his face grim. Scouts spotted a Krath landing party. 1 click west, they're probing, not attacking yet. We can hold them off, but it's a matter of time. Lena nodded, her mind racing. Buy us as long as you can. Aisha, keep jamming their drones. Tarek, any tricks up your sleeve? Tarek's eyes glowed. Their landing craft use short-range comms. I can send a false signal, draw them to a trap. Do it, Lena said. Diego, set an ambush. We hit them hard, keep them guessing. The team sprang into action, the bunker a hive of defiance. Lena stayed with Samir, her hands moving on instinct, splicing wires and checking outputs. Hours blurred, her arms screaming, but she didn't stop. Mara and Eli's faces drove her, their memory of fire in her veins. At midnight, the canyon was silent, a deceptive calm. Diego's ambush had worked. Tarek's false signal lured a Krath squad into an EMP minefield, disabling their craft. But the victory was fleeting. Aisha's intercepts showed the main Krath force massing, their ships a red constellation above. The bunker's traps would slow them, but not stop them. Lena stood outside, the cold air sharpening her senses. Tarek joined her, his silhouette stark against the stars. Your people are ready, he said. But the Krath are many. Are you afraid? Terrified, Lena admitted, her voice steady. But fear's just fuel. We've got a job to do. Tarek's mandibles clicked, a sound she now recognized as respect. Your fire burns bright, Lena Navarro. I am honored to burn with it. She smiled, a rare moment of lightness. Glad you're here, Tarek. Aboard the Krath flagship, Zorith's claws gouged his console, his eyes blazing. The humans' defiance mocked him. Stolen ships, crippled cruisers, a traitor in their ranks. Tarek's betrayal was a wound to Krath pride, proof of human corruption. Launch the assault, he ordered. Burn their stronghold. End this. His officers chittered agreement, but fear lingered. The humans were chaos, their fire spreading even to Krath hearts. Zorith's mandibles flared. He would crush them or fall to their flame. In the bunker, Lena watched the pulse generator glow, its power a fragile hope. The Krath were hours away, their drones a buzzing threat. Humanity was battered, outgunned, but unbroken. Lena's resolve hardened, fueled by loss and love. The calm was ending, but the fight was just beginning. The Rocky Mountain Canyon trembled under the roar of Krath warships, their red hulls blotting out the dawn. Lena Navarro stood on the bunker's roof, her bandaged arm gripping a scavenged rifle as she watched the alien fleet descend. Drones swarmed like locusts, their plasma bolts scarring the cliffs. The Krath had found them, their hunter fleets unleashed to crush the human resistance. Inside the bunker, the pulse generator, humanity's last hope, hummed at 95% stability, but it wasn't mounted on the scout ship yet. Time had run out, and Lena's fire burned fierce against the fear clawing her chest. Diego Reyes crouched beside her, his scope tracking a Krath landing craft. They're hitting us with everything, he said, his voice grim. Perimeter traps took out a dozen drones, but there's hundreds more. We've got minutes before they breach. Lena nodded, her earpiece crackling with Aisha Malik's voice. Lena, I'm jamming their comms, but it's not enough. Their flagship's coordinating. Zorith's up there calling the shots. Keep them scrambled, Lena said. Samir, generator status? Samir's reply was tense, echoing from the workshop. 97%, we're mounting it on the ship, but it's slow. Tarek's helping, but we need an hour. We don't have an hour, Lena snapped. She turned to Diego. Hold the line, I'm heading to the ship. Diego grabbed her arm, his eyes hard. You're not going up there alone. That generator's a death trap if it misfires. Then we die trying, Lena said, pulling free. For Kira, for your kid in Lagos, for everyone. Cover me. Diego cursed but nodded, signaling his volunteers, 40 fighters armed with rifles and EMP grenades. They fanned out across the canyon, their faces set with defiance. Lena sprinted for the bunker's bay, the ground shaking as a Krath bolt vaporized a decoy station. Inside the workshop was chaos. Samir and Tarek wrestled the pulse generator onto the scout ship's chassis, sparks flying as they bolted it in place. Aisha hunched over a console, her tablet flooding Krath channels with looped human memes, dancing cats, dramatic monologues, to disrupt their coordination. The ship's hull, patched with duct tape, gleamed under flickering lights, a symbol of human stubbornness. "Lena," Samir shouted, his face smudged with grease. "Generators wired but the alignment's off. If we fire now it could fry us." "Fix it," Lena said, climbing into the pilot's seat. "Tarek, can we launch?" Tarek's bioluminescent eyes glowed, his claws steady on a Krath console. "Engines are stable, shields at 60%. We can fly, but their flagship will target us." "Then we dodge," Lena said, her hands gripping the controls. She'd flown survey ships in her engineering days, but this was a beast, alien, volatile, human-rigged. "Aisha, you with us?" Aisha slung her tablet over her shoulder, sliding into a co-pilot's seat. "Hell yeah, let's make these bugs regret waking up today." The bay doors groaned open, revealing a sky ablaze with plasma. Diego's team fired from the cliffs, their EMP grenades sparking as drones fell. A Krath landing craft touched down, disgorging soldiers, segmented, clawed, their rifles glowing green. Lena's heart pounded, Mara and Eli's hollow heavy in her pocket. "Launch," she yelled. The scout ship roared upward, its engines straining, plasma bolts streaked past, one grazing the hull, alarms blaring. Samir clung to the generator, cursing as he tweaked its wiring. Tarek diverted power to shields, his voice calm, flagship at 3 clicks, dorsal cannons charging. Lena banked hard, the ship weaving through drone swarms. Aisha's hacks froze half the drones, their signals glitching with human music, Sweet Caroline blaring across Krath comms. "Take that, Zorith," Aisha laughed, her fingers flying. The flagship loomed, a crimson monolith dwarfing the scout ship. Its core pulsed red, linked to the fleet's network. Lena's tablet showed the generator at 98%, its capacitors humming dangerously. "Samir, now or never." "Almost there," Samir shouted, slamming a panel shut. 99, fire when ready. Lena dove toward the flagship's ventral core, dodging turret fire. Drones closed in, their bolts scorching the shields. Tarek tapped a glyph, boosting the stealth field for a precious second. The core was meters away, its glow blinding. "Fire!" Lena roared. Aisha triggered the pulse. A shockwave erupted, an EMP ripple tearing through the flagship's core. Blue arcs cascaded, the ship's lights flickering as secondary explosions bloomed. Lena's tablet showed the fleet faltering, cruisers drifting, drones falling, their linked cores overloading. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but a direct hit rocked the ship, sparks raining. "Shields down," Tarek warned, "engines failing." Lena wrestled the controls, the ship spiraling toward Earth. The flagship's turrets fired wildly, its core destabilizing. "Samir, can we land?" "Barely," Samir yelled, rerouting power. "Canyon's our only shot." The ship plunged, hull glowing red from re-entry. Lena's vision blurred, her arms screaming. Aisha braced, Tarek shielded Samir, and the ground rushed up. They crashed in the canyon, skidding through dust, the hull groaning but holding. "Everyone alive," Lena gasped, coughing smoke. "Define alive," Aisha groaned, clutching her tablet. Samir gave a shaky thumbs up. Tarek's eyes glowed faintly, but the bay was silent. Diego's comms were down. Lena staggered out, rifle in hand. The canyon was a war zone, Krath soldiers clashing with Diego's team, plasma bolts lighting the cliffs. Diego fought hand to hand, his knife buried in a Krath's chest, but his volunteers were falling outnumbered. A drone zeroed in, its cannon charging. "No!" Lena screamed, firing her rifle. The drone sparked but fired, and Diego dove, shielding Priya. The blast caught him, hurling him against a rock. Lena ran, sliding beside him. "Diego, stay with me." His face was pale, blood soaking his chest. "Told you. Humans fight best with backs to the wall," he rasped, a weak smile. "Get my kid, Legos." Lena gripped his hand, tears burning. "I will, I swear." Diego's eyes dimmed, his hand going limp. Lena's scream choked in her throat, rage and grief fueling her. She grabbed his rifle, firing at the Krath, her shots wild but fierce. Tarek joined her, his claws slashing at drone circuits. Aisha's hacks dropped more, and Samir dragged Priya to safety. The Krath retreated, their flagships collapsed, disrupting their chain of command. The canyon fell silent, littered with wreckage and bodies. Lena knelt by Diego, her hands trembling. He'd given everything, like Kira, like so many. She tucked his dog tags into her pocket beside Mara and Eli's hollow. In the bunker, the resistance licked its wounds. Aisha's intercepts confirmed the Krath fleet's retreat, their linked cores in disarray. The pulse generator was fried, but Tarek's data offered a blueprint to build another. Samir mourned Diego, vowing to finish the weapon. Priya, bandaged but alive, took up Diego's rifle, her fear burned away. Lena stood in the workshop, staring at the scout ship's charred hull. Tarek approached, his voice soft. "Your loss, it strengthens you. How?" Lena's voice cracked. It doesn't, it hurts like hell, but we keep going for them. Diego, Kira, my family, they're why we fight. Tarek's mandibles clicked, a gesture of respect. I fight for them too. Aisha joined them, her tablet glowing. Krath are pulling back, but Zorith's alive. He'll regroup. We've got weeks maybe to prep. Lena nodded, her fire unquenched. Then we prep, we build, we win. Aboard the Krath flagship, Zorith clung to his console, his hull sparking, officers dead around him. The humans' pulse had gutted his fleet, their chaos defying Krath logic. Tarek's treason burned worst, a Krath seduced by human fire. Regroup, he hissed, his voice venom. We will burn their world to ash. But doubt crept into his eyes. The humans were not vermin, they were relentless, their spirit a weapon he couldn't counter. The war was shifting, and Zorith feared the tide. In the bunker, Lena held Diego's tags, her resolve steel. The Krath would return, but humanity was ready, not with fleets but with scrap, sacrifice and fire. The battle for Earth was won, but the war raged on, and Lena would fight until the stars were hers. The Rocky Mountain Canyon was a graveyard of scorched earth and twisted metal, the dawn light glinting off Krath drone wreckage and human blood. Lena Navarro stood at the bunker's entrance, Diego Reyes dog tags heavy in her hand, their edges biting into her palm. The Krath fleet had retreated, their flagship crippled by the pulse generator's EMP blast, their linked cores throwing their armada into chaos. Humanity had won the battle for Earth, but the cost was etched in the faces of the survivors. Priya clutching Diego's rifle, Samir staring blankly at the scout ship, Aisha's usual grin absent. Lena's fire still burned, but grief threatened to smother it, a weight heavier than any Krath bombardment. She tucked the tags beside the hollow of Mara and Eli, their faces a silent anchor. Diego's last words, "Get my kid, Lagos," echoed, a promise she'd keep if it killed her. The bunker buzzed with activity behind her, medics tending wounded, technicians salvaging Krath debris, volunteers whispering Diego's name like a prayer. The pulse generator was fried, but Tarek's data offered a blueprint for another, a weapon to end the Krath threat for good. Victory was theirs, but Lena knew the war wasn't over. Aisha Malik approached, her tablet glowing with intercepted signals. Krath are limping back to orbit, she said, her voice subdued. Zorith's alive, barking orders from a half-dead flagship. Their fleet's down 30%, cruisers fried, drones scattered. We hurt them bad. Good, Lena said, her voice steel. What's the chatter saying? Aisha's eyes flicked to her screen. They're rattled, calling us chaos demons. The Galactic Concord's watching too. Diplomats are freaking out, saying we're rewriting their rulebook. Some want to back us now. Lena's jaw tightened. The Concord had abandoned them, urging surrender when the Krath first struck. Their interest now was too little, too late. Let them watch. We don't need their help, we never did. Aisha nodded, but her gaze lingered on Lena's clenched fist. You okay, boss? Diego? He saved Priya, saved us all. Lena's throat burned, but she swallowed it down. He did. We honor him by finishing this. Get Tarek, Samir. We need that new generator online. Aisha hesitated, then squeezed Lena's shoulder before heading inside. Lena lingered, the canyon's silence deafening. Diego's sacrifice was a wound, raw and bleeding, but it fueled her resolve. Humanity's fire wasn't just defiance, it was sacrifice, love, the stubborn refusal to let the fallen die in vain. In the workshop, Samir and Tarek Voon worked on a new pulse generator. Its frame a tangle of scavenged Krath tech and human wiring. Samir's hands shook as he soldered a capacitor, his eyes red from sleepless nights and Diego's loss. Tarek's claws moved with alien precision, adjusting a power relay, his bioluminescent eyes dimmed with focus. The team's distrust of Tarek had faded after the battle. He'd fought beside them, his loyalty proven in blood and fire. Lena, Samir said, looking up, we're at 50% on the generator. Tarek's schematics cut our build time, but it's still days away, if the Krath regroup. They won't, Lena said, her voice firm. Aisha's hacks are keeping them scrambled. We've got time to make this right. Tarek's mandibles clicked, a gesture Lena now recognized as agreement. Your kind builds with passion, he said, his translator buzzing. Krath construct for efficiency. You build for meaning, it is stronger. Samir managed a weak smile. Diego would have liked that. He always said we fight harder when it's personal. Lena's chest tightened, but she nodded. He was right, let's make this personal for the Krath. The workshop hummed with renewed purpose, technicians joining Samir and Tarek. Lena helped, her engineer's instincts guiding her as she wired a control panel, duct tape sealing a cracked casing. The bunker's survivors worked in shifts, their exhaustion buried under defiance. Priya, now leading Diego's squad, drilled volunteers in the bay, her voice sharp but steady. Aisha flooded Krath comms with new memes, a looping video of humans cheering in the canyon, captioned, Earth says try again. At noon, Lena called a gathering in the bunker's main bay. The resistance, 40 survivors battered but unbroken, stood around the scout ship, its charred hull a testament to their fight. The new generator gleamed beside it, a fragile hope. Lena climbed onto a crate, Diego's tags heavy in her pocket. "We won," she said, her voice carrying over the crowd. "The Krath came to break us, and we broke them. Diego gave his life for this, Kira too, and so many others. We carry their fire now. This generator's our next step, to burn the Krath from our sky, to show the galaxy what humans are." The crowd roared, fists raised. Priya's eyes shone with pride, Samir's shoulders straightened, and Aisha flashed a grin. Tarek stood at the edge, his alien form no longer foreign. Lena continued, her voice steady despite the grief gnawing her heart. "The Krath will come again. Zorith's out there, licking his wounds, but we're not waiting. We're building, fighting, living, for Diego, for our families, for Earth." The cheers echoed, a raw defiance that shook the bunker's walls. Lena stepped down, her fire burning brighter. A young medic handed her a scavenged Krath claw etched with Diego's name, a memorial from the team. Lena gripped it, her resolve hardening. She'd keep her promise to Diego, to all of them. That evening, Lena found Priya in the canyon, cleaning Diego's rifle under a starry sky. The young woman's hands were steady, her fear replaced by purpose. "He believed in us," Priya said, her voice soft. "Said we'd win because we're too stubborn to quit." Lena sat beside her, the Krath claw in her hand. "He was right, you're carrying his fight now, Priya, we all are." Priya nodded, her eyes fierce, for him, for Lagos. Lena's heart ached, Diego's promise a weight she'd bear. "We'll get there, I swear it." Tarek approached, his silhouette stark against the stars. "Your unity, it is powerful," he said. "Krath fight as one, but without heart. You fight for each other, it changes everything." Lena met his glowing eyes, seeing a comrade forged in battle. "You're part of that now, Tarek. Your kin would be proud." Tarek's mandibles clicked, a gesture of gratitude. "I fight for them and for you." Aisha's tablet pinged with a new intercept, pulling Lena back to the workshop. The Galactic Concord had sent a message. Not to the Krath, but to Earth. "They're offering aid," Aisha said, her voice skeptical. "Ships, tech, diplomats. Say they're awed by humanity's resilience." Lena snorted. "They're scared. We did what they couldn't, stood up to the Krath. Tell them we'll talk when the war's over." Aisha grinned, typing a reply laced with human sass. "Thanks, but we've got this. #EarthStrong." She showed it to Lena, who laughed, a sound startling her. It felt good, a spark of humanity amid the loss. Samir joined them, his face lit with excitement. "Generators at 70%. With Tarek's tweaks, we'll have it ready in 2 days. It's stronger than the last, could take out the flagship's entire network." Lena nodded, her fire flaring. "Then we hit Zorith where it hurts, no more running." Aboard the Krath flagship, Zorith stood amid sparking consoles, his officers cowering under his gaze. The human pulse had gutted his fleet, their chaos-defying Krath logic. Tarek's treason and the Concord's whispers of human strength gnawed at his pride. "Rebuild the fleet," he hissed, his claws trembling. "Find their base, end them." But doubt crept into his bioluminescent eyes. The humans were not insects, they were a firestorm, their sacrifices forging a strength he couldn't break. Zorith's mandibles flared, his resolve wavering. The war was slipping from his grasp. In the bunker, Lena stood before Diego's memorial, a wall etched with names of the fallen, his at the top. She traced his name, her voice a whisper. "We're not done, Diego. For your kid, for Earth, we'll finish this." The resistance worked through the night, their fire unquenched. The generator hummed, Priya's squad trained. Aisha's hacks kept the Krath scrambling, and Tarek's data lit the path forward. Humanity was battered, bleeding, but unbroken. Lena's resolve burned like a star ready to light the galaxy. The victory was theirs, but the loss was heavy. The final fight loomed, and Lena would lead them through, for Diego, for Mara, for all who'd given everything to keep Earth free. The Rocky Mountain bunker pulsed with a frenetic energy, its corridors lit by the glow of a new pulse generator, humanity's final weapon against the Krath dominion. Lena Navarro stood in the workshop, her bandaged arms steady as she checked the device's wiring, its capacitors humming with volatile power. The Krath fleet, battered but regrouping under Zorith's command, was massing in high orbit, their red ships a scar across Earth's sky. 2 days after Diego's sacrifice, the Resistance had rebuilt their hope from scrap and blood, ready to end the war. Lena's fire burned brighter than ever, fueled by the hollow of Mara and Eli, Diego's dog tags, and a promise to reach Lagos. Aisha Malik burst in, her tablet flashing with intercepted Krath signals. "They're coming, Lena," she said, her voice tight but fierce. "Zorith's flagship's leading the charge, full assault in 6 hours. Their cores are still shaky from our last hit, but they've got numbers." Lena nodded, her jaws set. "Then we hit them first. Samir, is the generator ready?" Samir, his face smudged with grease, looked up from the scout ship's console. 99% stable, he said, pride cutting through his exhaustion. Mounted on the ship, ready to fire, one pulse could fry their entire network. Tarek Voon, standing beside Samir, adjusted a Krath relay with his claws. Their flagship's core is the key, he said, his bioluminescent eyes glowing. Strike it and the fleet collapses, but their shields are reinforced, we must be precise. Lena met Tarek's gaze, seeing a comrade forged in fire. We will be. Priya, what's the ground defense? Priya, now leading Diego's squad, stood at the bay's edge, her rifle slung with confidence. Canyons rigged, EMP mines, decoy signals, everything we've got. We'll hold the Krath off while you hit the fleet. Lena climbed onto a crate, facing the resistance. 30 survivors, their faces etched with loss but burning with defiance. This is it, she said, her voice carrying. The Krath think they can break us. They've tried and we're still here. Diego, Kira, all our fallen. They're with us now. We take this generator, we take their flagship, and we take our sky back, for Earth, for humanity. The bay erupted in cheers, a roar of raw human spirit. Aisha grinned, Samir pumped a fist, Priya saluted, and Tarek's mandibles clicked in respect. Lena stepped down, her resolve steel. The galaxy would remember this day. The scout ship launched at dusk, its hull patched with duct tape and human grit. Lena piloted, her hands steady on the alien controls, Samir at the generator, Aisha on hacks and Tarek on shields. The Krath fleet filled the viewscreen, hundreds of ships, their flagship a crimson behemoth at the center. Drones swarmed, her scanners sweeping, but Aisha's jams looped with human anthems kept them guessing. Cloaking's holding, Samir said, his voice tense. 5 minutes to the flagship. Lena wove through the fleet, dodging plasma bolts. The flagship's core pulsed red, its shield shimmering. Tarek's data pinpointed a weak point, dorsal vent, minimally guarded. There, he said, his claws tapping a glyph, strike there. Aisha's tablet pinged. Their drones are onto us, cloaks fading. Drones closed in, their bolts scorching the hull. Lena banked hard, the ship shuddering. Samir braced the generator, its hum rising to a shriek. 90 seconds to full charge. Tarek diverted power to shields, his voice calm. Their flagship's cannons are waking, we must fire soon. Lena dove toward the vent, turrets tracking them. A bolt hit, sparks raining. But Tarek's shields held. Aisha hacked a drone swarm, sending them crashing into a cruiser. Take that, bugs, she yelled, her grin fierce. The vent loomed, its glow blinding. Samir shouted, charged, fire. Lena triggered the pulse. A shockwave erupted, an EMP ripple tearing through the flagship's core. Blue arcs cascaded, the ship's hull splitting as explosions bloomed. Lena's tablet showed the fleet collapsing, cruisers sparking, drones falling, their linked cores frying. The flagship listed, its red glow fading. Got you, Zorith, Lena whispered, her fire blazing. But the flagship's cannons fired a final volley, a plasma bolt slamming the scout ship. Alarms blared, the hull breached. Engines down, Samir yelled, smoke choking the bridge. Land us, Lena ordered, wrestling the controls. The ship spiraled toward Earth, the canyon a distant hope. Tarek shielded Aisha, Samir braced, and Lena fought the stick, her arms screaming. The ground rushed up and they crashed, skidding through dust, the hull groaning but holding. Lena coughed, blood on her lips, but she staggered out, rifle raised. The canyon was quiet. The Krath's ground assault had faltered, Priya's traps and Aisha's hacks breaking their advance. The sky cleared, the fleet's wreckage burning in orbit. Humanity had won. In the bunker, the resistance celebrated, their cheers echoing through blood-stained corridors. Priya's squad salvaged Krath tech, their morale unbroken. Samir mourned the scout ship but vowed to build another. Aisha's intercepts confirmed Zorith's death, his flagship a husk. The Krath fleet shattered. The Galactic Concord sent envoys awed by humanity's fire, offering alliance. Lena accepted, but on Earth's terms. Tarek stood in the workshop, his claws tracing a new generator's frame. Your kind has changed the stars, he said, his eyes glowing. I am honored to be human. Lena smiled, weary but warm. You always were, Tarek. She stepped outside, the canyon bathed in dawn's light. The hollow of Mara and Eli glowed in her hand, Diego's tags beside it. Grief lingered, but hope rose. A promise kept, a future earned. Aisha joined her, her tablet showing human signals worldwide, cities rebuilding, voices singing, defiance unbroken. We did it, Aisha said, her voice soft. For Diego, for everyone. Lena nodded, her fire steady. And we're not done, Lagos is waiting. A human ship launched that day, a cobbled-together vessel bound for a distant star. Lena stood at its helm, Priya and Samir at her side, Tarek as envoy to the Concord. Earth's scars remained, but its spirit soared, a beacon to the galaxy. The Krath were gone, their empire broken by human fire. The stars were open, and humanity would claim them, not with conquest but with hope. Lena looked to the horizon, her hand on Diego's tags. For you, she whispered, and the ship leapt forward, a new dawn breaking across the cosmos.